Massive tombs, hidden chambers, sacred rituals carved right into stone across continents, across, well, millennia, really. There's this one profound thread binding humanity's oldest empires. It's this enduring, almost overwhelming obsession with death and the afterlife. But why? What did they truly believe about life beyond death? And what kind of eternity were they actually preparing for? Tonight, we're stepping into the shadows, into pyramids, catacombs, even sunken cities, to try and uncover the secrets of, well, humanity's most enduring mystery, the road to the afterlife. So, in this deep dive, our mission really is to explore these ancient cultures. We want to reveal their unique, sometimes startling approaches to death and eternity. We're going to try and extract the most profound insights into how these different civilizations grappled with that ultimate transition, showing you hopefully some surprising commonalities, but also fascinating differences that, well, they still resonate today. All right, so to truly start our journey into the afterlife, where else could we begin but with ancient Egypt? Their entire civilization, it feels like, practically revolved around preparing for what came next.
It really did. For the Egyptians, life wasn't seen as an end in itself. It was genuinely just a fragment of an eternal existence.
Just a fragment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Death wasn't finality. It was a critical transition, a journey that demanded meticulous lifelong preparation. And what's truly fascinating here is just how deeply this belief permeated, well, every aspect of their society.
Right.
Take the Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, built around, 2560 BCE.
Right.
This wasn't just a royal tomb. It was conceived as a celestial gateway. It was intricately aligned with Orion's belt and the cardinal points.
That precision is incredible.
It is. And this alignment, it wasn't accidental. It symbolized the pharaoh's direct passage to the stars, a profound cosmic journey. And to aid in this incredibly complex journey, they developed texts like the Book of the Dead.
Ah, yes, the Book of the Dead.
These were essentially guidebooks, filled with incantations and maps crucial for navigating the treacherous Duat, their underworld of trials and transformations.
A celestial map and a literal guidebook for the dead. That level of detail is it's truly astounding. But what does it tell us about maybe the practical impact of these beliefs on daily Egyptian life? Was this meticulous preparation accessible to everyone, or was it mainly for the elite?
That's a really excellent question. And while, yes, the pharaohs had the absolute grandest preparations, the underlying belief, the necessity of an intact body for the afterlife, that was widespread. Egyptologist Dr. Salima Ikram puts it perfectly. She says mummification was not just about preservation, it was about resurrection.
Resurrection.
Exactly. The belief was that the physical body had to remain intact for the Ka, the life force, and the Ba, the sort of mobile personality of the soul, to successfully reunite after death.
Yeah.
Without that physical vessel, that eternal journey couldn't truly begin.
So it wasn't just pharaohs then?
No. Ordinary Egyptians also sought mummification, to the best of their means, ensuring their own chance at eternity.
So the body was literally a spiritual anchor. And you mentioned the Hall of Judgment earlier. How did an Egyptian ensure they passed that ultimate test?
Right. Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you can see this meticulous planning manifest in places like the Valley of the Kings. Inside those tombs, you find these elaborate murals depicting the soul's perilous journey. You see it passing formidable guardians, enduring various trials, and ultimately arriving at the Hall of Judgment. This was the critical point.
The moment of truth.
Precisely, where Mahat, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic order, would weigh the deceased's heart against a feather, symbolizing perfect balance. The ultimate ticket to immortality, to a blissful afterlife, was a life lived with order and virtue. It was essentially a rigorous ethical audit of one's entire existence.
It really was. The sheer scale of their efforts, the meticulous preparation involved in every single step of the supposed transition, it's truly mind-boggling. It speaks to a civilization completely, profoundly dedicated to ensuring this cosmic journey was successful. They basically turned their whole existence into a dress rehearsal for eternity.
Okay, so from the cosmic ambitions of Egypt, let's shift now to a profoundly different vision of eternity, one grounded right here on Earth, Imperial China. Their emperors didn't seem to look to the stars to continue their reign, but rather built their eternal kingdom, beneath their feet.
Exactly. And what's absolutely fascinating here is the sheer practicality and ambition of their afterlife preparations. Consider Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor. Around 210 BCE, he ordered the construction of a sprawling necropolis.
The terracotta army site.
That's the one. But it's so much more. This wasn't just a tomb. It was envisioned as a complete mirror of his kingdom in the afterlife. Beneath that vast mound in Xi'an lies this incredible city of the dead, guarded by, nothing less than 8,000 life-size terracotta warriors. 8,000?
8,000. each one unique, each meticulously crafted to serve him in the next world.
8,000 unique figures, each a servant for the emperor in the afterlife. Well, if death was truly a continuation, it raises fascinating questions, doesn't it? About identity and power in the afterlife. Did the emperor expect his earthly hierarchy to just persist entirely, or were there, subtle shifts in the underworld?
Oh, he absolutely intended for his earthly power to extend beyond the grave.
Right.
Ancient Chinese texts clearly describe death as a continuation of life. So this isn't just about preparing for a new realm. It's a powerful statement about the continuity of power and order itself.
Right.
In a way, they weren't just dying, they were like expanding their empire into the afterlife. And this belief explains why their tombs weren't just burial sites, but treasure troves, filled with incredibly valuable items, jade suits, elaborate ceremonial bronze vessels,
Oh.
and yes, even sophisticated mechanical traps designed to deter grave robbers.
Traps.
Oh yes. The irony, of course, is that while meticulously preparing for an eternal reign, the emperor himself obsessively sought elixirs of immortality, only to reportedly die from mercury poisoning in his quest for them.
Oh, wow. That is ironic.
Isn't it? And Dr. Lothar von Falkenhausen, a leading expert in Chinese archaeology, describes these tombs not just as burial sites, but as cosmological theaters.
Cosmological theaters.
Yes, every single item, every arrangement within these elaborate structures symbolized the delicate harmony between earth, heaven, and the journeying soul of the deceased. It was all about recreating order and ensuring continuity even after death.
It's just incredible to consider that ambition and the incredibly practical nature of their afterlife preparations, creating a fully functioning miniature eternal kingdom, army and all. It contrasts so sharply with Egypt's cosmic, perhaps more spiritually focused journey. Okay, so moving beyond these grand, kind of rigid empires, let's plunge into the vibrant, cyclical worldview of the Mesoamerican civilizations, the Maya, Aztecs, and Inca. Here, death wasn't really an end, but more like a continuous dance.
That's a great way to put it. What's profoundly striking here is how interwoven life and death truly were in their worldview. For the Maya, for instance, the soul's journey involved passage through Xibalba. This was a dark underworld fraught with trials and trickery. Their iconic pyramids like Temple I and Tikal weren't just places of worship. They were built directly atop tombs.
Right on top?
Right on top. Each ascending level of the pyramid echoed the steps into the afterlife, symbolizing that sacred, often perilous journey. Then you have the Aztecs. Their practices sometimes shock modern sensibilities, don't they? But they were deeply rooted in their cosmology.
The sacrifices, you mean?
Exactly. Their human sacrifices, for example, weren't simply acts of violence as we might see them. They were understood as necessary offerings to nourish the gods and, crucially, to maintain cosmic balance, to keep the worlds from falling into chaos. And the destiny of the dead was varied. It was deeply connected to how they died.
How they died.
Yes. Brave warriors, for instance, ascended to accompany the sun across the sky, while those who drowned went to Tlalocan, a lush, watery paradise overseen by the rain god.
So your journey in the afterlife was determined not just by how you lived, but specifically how you departed this one. That's a powerful and quite stark concept. How did that belief that the manner of your death determined your eternal fate, how did that influence their approach to life? Or even, I suppose, the practice of human sacrifice, if certain deaths led to a kind of elevated spiritual status?
Well, it absolutely shaped their worldview. It created this profound understanding that one's final moments held significant cosmic weight. It wasn't arbitrary. And the Inca, they had an even more unique relationship with their ancestors, one that truly blurred the line between the living and the dead.
Blurred the line how?
Well, mummies of their deceased rulers and nobles weren't hidden away. They were active participants in society. Yes. They were paraded during festivals, consulted for important decisions, and even offered food as if still alive. As archaeologist Dr. Elizabeth Graham put it, the dead weren't gone. They were everywhere, watching, guiding, living on in cycles of time. This wasn't just remembrance, it was ongoing, tangible interaction.
That truly underscores the profound interconnectedness, doesn't it, of life, death, the cosmos in these cultures. Death wasn't an ending. It was a transformation, a continuous part of the grand cycle of existence, with ancestors actively participating in the lives of the living. Just incredible. All right, now let's broaden our scope again. Let's go to ancient Europe, where long before the advent of writing, people were building these monumental megalithic tombs that seemed to reach for the stars. These aren't just piles of rocks. They are ancient engineering marvels with a deep, perhaps hidden purpose.
What's truly remarkable here is the sheer antiquity of these structures and the The universal human drive they represent. Take Newgrange in Ireland, for example, built around 3200 BCE.
Wow, older than the pyramids.
Yes, exactly. Older than the Great Pyramids of Egypt. And every year, precisely on the winter solstice, a shaft of light penetrates its long passage, illuminating a hidden burial chamber deep within.
That gives me chills just thinking about it.
It's amazing. And it raises profound questions, right? Was it a resurrection ritual intended to bring the dead back to life, at least symbolically? Or maybe a sophisticated solar calendar specifically designed for the dead, marking their passage in eternity? We don't know for sure. And this phenomenon, it isn't isolated. We see similar monumental sites across ancient Europe. The Hypogea of Malta, the dolmens of Brittany, the passage tombs of Orkney. All of them suggest a profound reverence for the journey beyond life. What's really striking if we, connect this to the bigger picture is the consistent alignment of many of these megalithic tombs with celestial events, solstices, equinoxes, lunar phase.
Alignments again, just like Egypt in a way.
Yes, and this strongly suggests that even these early humans, without written records, held a deep intrinsic belief that the afterlife was tied to the cosmos itself, to the rhythms of the sun and stars.
It's an amazing reflection, isn't it, on the deep, primal connections between the earth, the sky, and that unseen world, even in the complete absence of any written records from that time. They felt it, they understood it somehow, and they built it. And it suggests that the human contemplation of eternity is far older than any civilization we typically think of. So, okay, we've explored these incredible civilizations, their unique approaches, Egypt, China, Mesoamerica, ancient Europe, but if we pull back, we're still left with that overarching question: why? Why were these ancient cultures from all corners of the globe so intensely fixated on death? What was the fundamental drive behind such massive, enduring efforts?
That is the big question, isn't it? And the scholarly consensus, it suggests it was far more profound than just a simple fear of the unknown.
Hmm.
While fear might have played a role, sure, these practices were profoundly about hope. Yes, hope. They were a way for these societies to create deep meaning, to maintain social order, and crucially, to connect individuals to grand, overarching cosmic cycles that transcended mortal life. Mircea Eliade, a leading scholar of religion, he argued that these elaborate rituals created a sacred continuity between the visible world we inhabit and the invisible realms beyond. It was about bridging that divide, ensuring the cosmos remained whole.
Keeping everything connected.
Exactly. Now, you also have figures like Graham Hancock, who, while certainly controversial,
Right.
he puts forth the intriguing idea that ancient death rituals might have served another, perhaps unexpected purpose,
Right.
to preserve fragments of lost knowledge, perhaps from a forgotten pre-cataclysmic civilization.
That's a truly provocative idea, that these death preparations weren't just about the next life, but about preserving wisdom, maybe even a warning for this one.
It's a fascinating thought. And Dr. Jan Assman, an Egyptologist, adds another crucial layer. He argues that mortuary practices weren't just about the individual, they encoded memory.
Encoded memory.
Yes, they were a sophisticated way of ensuring that legacy and consciousness survived beyond physical death, stretching into the collective memory of the living. So if we synthesize this common thread, across all these diverse civilizations from Egypt to China, Mesoamerica to megalithic Europe, we find that preparation for death was fundamentally preparation for rebirth. It wasn't seen as an end. It was understood as a cosmic migration, perhaps a return or an evolution.
It really highlights the profound, truly visionary nature of this obsession, doesn't it? It wasn't some morbid fascination with mortality, but a grand, hopeful vision of transcendence that shaped entire societies. To walk among the tombs of the ancients is, well, it's truly like hearing whispers from eternity. They didn't just build monuments, they built messages. Messages etched in stone and star alignments, meant to survive the erosion of time itself. Their obsession with death wasn't morbid. It was visionary, because in death, they saw truth. They saw purpose. Transcendence. Perhaps the real question isn't just what happens after we die, but maybe what are we building? What messages are we leaving? And how are we preparing for the journey of existence itself?